Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you now about creating your source cards and your note cards because all of you will have one source card and 5 note cards due tomorrow. So, the first place I'm going to show you and refresh your memory is with your research manual. This is the research manual that has been shared with all of you. If you go into your drive and type in research manual, this is going to pop up. It's named CMHS Research Manual. And if you look here, you see source cards begin on 7 and note cards begin on 9. So if you scroll down to page 7, you are going to see a sample of what a handwritten source card would look like. Now, this is a book, so you've already been informed on how to create a source card for a database. I just want you to see that this is what would go on a source card. And this is a person's 4th source. So it's going to have a number 4 on it, and any notes that you would take from this book would have a number 4 on them as well. Now, when you're thinking about taking notes, you want to make sure that you are remembering a few things. You want to make sure that these are directly related to your question, that you can go back and find this information if you needed to. Okay, you are going to have only 1 or 2 ideas or phrases on that card. The only thing that you need to put on the back of your note cards are your initials. The front of your note cards have to have the same number as your source card, and you want to make sure that you are not overloading these cards. Okay, so here's some information about quoting and paraphrasing and summarizing, and we've talked about all of that. And many of you will also have, and I'm using English 2 right now, an information sheet about how to create these source cards and how many you will have to have and what needs to be on there. So remembering that the source cards have to have this information, your first and last name, everything exactly the way that you found it in the database, including punctuation. The thing to remember for note cards, this gives you the same kind of information. So if you do have access to this research info sheet, feel free to go in and look at it because you want to make sure that these note cards are correct when you turn them into me. So you want to make sure that you have your name, your initials on the back of the note cards. You want to make sure that you've not overloaded these cards, that if you've used a direct quote, that you have that on there. And all of your note cards need to have a guide word, a heading, a slug, something at the top of the card, that indicates what your notes are about. And that is going to be very important when we get ready to organize your material. You will have points taken off if you do not have a heading on every single note card regarding what your information is on that card. All right. If you do have a book, and many of you are not looking at a book yet, but if you are writing down notes from a book, you are going to make sure that the page number is in the lower right corner of your card. That's important when we have our parenthetical citations within our paper. So you must remember that. If you don't have it, I will make you go back and get it. So it is better to do it right the first time rather than have to go back, lose points, and still have to do it. I want to show you a visual of what these cards could look like. If you look here, this is from a book, and this is about the KKK and Martin Luther King Jr. And if you see here, here's the source card. It has the source The book in this case, and we're not worried about signing a book at this point. I just want you to see the card has a number 1 in the corner. All the note cards have the number 1 as well. When you turn in your note cards, your source number and note card must match. That is imperative. You must make sure that any notes you take from one of your sources have the same exact number that the source card number did. The card should have a lot of white space, only 1 or 2 ideas per card. If you're using a book, there must be a page number. And every single card must have a heading based on what you've got on your notes here. So if I'm writing about some notes about Martin Luther King Jr. and how he helped fight the KKK, I'm going to put honor or legacy. This is just what I'm thinking about in my mind. Maybe I take some notes about him being a pastor in Georgia. Maybe I want to put something about him being a civil rights leader, and I would put that right here. Maybe on this card, this is about the bus boycott and how he was instrumental and helped Rosa Parks. And maybe up here on this card, I have some information about his assassination, and I want to put that up here. So if I've got notes on this card about his assassination, this title up here, the heading might be his murder, assassination, his death, whatever. So this is what your source and note cards will look like when you get ready to turn them into me. So you want to make sure that you are using this as your example and going to your information sheet in Canvas or your research manual, or you're getting in touch with me if you have questions. The job you need to be doing is making sure that you're paying close attention and that you're doing what you need to be doing, and then you're using these resources effectively rather than just asking me if you're not sure. So that's all for this video. If you have any questions, you know where to reach me.